You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls. Tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Punisher Waterfowls The Refuge is presented by Quick Koys, the fastest deployable, most portable, lifelike motion decoy product ever invented for duck hunters.
That we have as a company mission statement is that we decided early on that we are not in the business of inventing hunting tools or inventing obedience training tools, meaning that I do not have 35 years of working with 10 dogs a week, to create something new or what we want to look at the industry and go that the industry's been using these tools, a lot of these tools for a lot of years, which is fine. However, we want to innovate, meaning that if you could take the magic wand and change this one thing on these 150 products, what would you change? Going back to our bumper, we changed the plastic. Every bumper you see has those little knobs on it.
Yeah.
That the knobs were, it makes the dog have a soft mouth, Well, what we found working with our pro staff is that when you're running a young dog and you have all the knobs, the dog kind of loosens up on their hold conditioning because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
So they're mouthing it and the bumper's moving around. So we, and a few of our competitors, all you want is a small amount of resistance so the dog can hold this thing.
Yeah.
And when you're doing hold conditioning, we like a 12-inch bumper because your hand's not covering it. You can present it to the dog. The dog is taking it.
Yeah. We
have our H hold, which just a little turn gives the dog the permission to release that.
Right.
So anyways.
Here's a question for you. So I have a hockey sock full of bumpers. I have a lot of bumpers. But one thing that I have, and you had mentioned it first when we got on the show, and when you were talking about your plastic and how your bumper is softer and the whole bit. My question to you is your bumper, do they keep that same soft consistency when the temperature drops? Because I'm going to tell you, I've got some bumpers that are like blocks of ice come the winter time. Like there is no forgiveness in them whatsoever. Does yours, do they keep that softness even in the colder temperature?
More so, that was one of the tough things is that temperature, like right now, I ran out to my warehouse, it's probably 110 degrees in there.
Oh, yes. Well, that's what it was in Baton Rouge this weekend. So
it was 103 today with the heat index. So anyways, I grabbed one of the bumpers and I could tell it was softer, but it's that it feels soft, but it's sturdy, which means when I grabbed it, I could tell it's a little bit more pliable.
Right.
But it's kind of like on the back end, you could feel the resistance build as you push down.
Okay.
And I'm like, if I could get this texture all the time, at 103 or whatever it was, because in the winter, because we're in Wisconsin, it's 35 below, the bumpers, they can get hard.
Oh yeah.
No matter what you do. So
I would say you have it colder where you are in Wisconsin than what I have it here in Ontario. Because I'm right on Lake Ontario. So I would say you have it colder where you are than what I do.
Well, we're all we talked to our friends in Arkansas. They kind of laugh, We tell them it's 25 below. So,
Um, I've been writing notes and things as you've been talking. And one thing that you brought up, and this is sort of kind of a pet peeve of mine when I hear people talk about it. And you had said, when you're talking about your product and people saying, well, it's gimmicky, it's marketing and stuff like that. But then you touched on another thing when you touched on your father and your father hunting with his wax canvas jacket and his overalls and his non-breathable boots and the whole bit. And I'm sure when the first camo pattern came out, someone was like, that's gimmicky, you don't need it. And then, everything we have today, if you want to boil it down, everything we have today is gimmicky by that definition.
yeah.
Because everything we have has been just more innovation. Well, how can we make this better? How can we make it warmer? How can we make it lighter? How can we make it waterproof? How can we make it easier to use? With the
And
definition.
if you put your father in any of the current modern gear, I'm sure he wouldn't be turning it away afterwards, right?
I guarantee my dad grew up on the northern peninsula of Newfoundland in the North Atlantic hunting moose, and I promise you, he wore rubber clothes
Oh
to
yeah.
keep dry, which didn't keep him dry. It just kept the rain off him,
Yeah,
but he
kept the
sweat
rain
like
out, but you were still wet.
oh yeah, he sweat like a pig underneath it. So yeah, so those kind of, and that's a pet peeve, right? Like, and I hear it in this industry all the time. Well, they're just copying somebody else. Everybody's been copying everybody for the last 100 years.
Right.
Since
Well,
the industrial age, we've been copying one another.
Well, and as part of our mission, and we talk about we want this brand or business to look like 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road. And um, going back to the innovation part is that, when we live in a free society and capitalism kind of rules,
Yeah,
when we pursue our ideas and we put them into motion, we bring them to the market.
yeah,
The market will tell us if it's gimmicky or they reject it. So
yeah. Good point.
when we've presented our product now, we launched in August of 2022. We doubled what we did in production and sales in 2021, and we doubled again in 2022. And in 2023, we're about 50% of where we were the year before. I looked last month, our orange bumper, because again, the uneducated buyer on Amazon looks at the orange bumper and goes, oh, I see it, I'm going to buy it for my dog,
Right.
and throw it in the pool. But it was Amazon's choice or number one selling bumper
Right.
for several months. So I tell our investors and our marketing group, because I'll announce we're going to pursue something, and they get a little nervous. And I said, well, we've done our homework, we've done our research, and if the market doesn't accept it, we go to the next one,
Right.
or change it based on,
What? Yeah. What feedback you get, right?
right. And you talked a little bit about our fire hose.
Mhm.
The other fabric that's been out there for years and years, and you probably have a lot of canvas bumpers.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm all
You don't?
plastic,
Okay.
but my buddies do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we spent a year and a half alone just looking at canvas, and we finally determined we have two canvas bumpers, and I'm showing you the shells because this is how I do products.
Yeah.
But we went through several iterations just of canvas. So competitors will just put canvas out there, stuff it, and yada yada. Our canvas is actually got a liner in it.
Okay.
It's a densely woven canvas, and it costs us a lot more because we actually triple sew the seams
Okay.
so they don't split. But just in canvas alone, I probably went through 8 to 12 different samples of canvas.
Wow. My
Yeah.
my issue with canvas was always, or is it's not so much the stitching, it was the rotten mildew aspect, and that was my concern when it come. I don't do a ton of hunting on fields. I do some, but the majority of my hunting is in water, so the
Yeah.
majority of my training is done over water. I still do field training, of course, but
Yeah.
so the rotten mildew aspect of canvas or whatever, fire hose, whatever it is, that was always my concern.
Hey
Yeah.
everybody, this is Kyle Smock with Show Me Ducks, a proud sponsor of Punisher Waterfowl's The Refuge this March at the Toronto Sportsman Show. Come check us out in The Refuge to see the Deep Diver 2.0, the Ice Quacker, and the Mini Quacker.
Yeah. What I tell guys, and this could be a good tip for the guys that are working with dogs. When you work with fire hose or canvas or fabrics, usually guys, you're tired, you're working the dog, you'll throw the bumpers wherever they end up.
Yeah.
One of the simplest things, two things, is a diluted solution of vinegar water.
Yeah.
But if you do that very light on the vinegar, because the dog
Yeah.
will,
Yes.
the other thing is UV, is get someplace southern exposure and just hang them out.
Okay.
So, I got one of these potting hooks you'll hang
Yep.
plants on. Mine's a potting hook of canvas and 1,000 denier. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah. So anyways, UV does wonders for that. So
I got another. Okay, here's my next question. And you guys seem, and you do, Paul, you seem very, you try to do the required amount of research, and you dedicate your time into making sure that you're putting out the best product possible, right? So,
right.
And I don't want to use the word gimmicky or anything like that, but you see different shapes now in the bumper world, right?
Yep.
You see coming into the middle, you see an indent. There's all kinds of different shapes, and I don't know which is right, which is wrong. I use whatever, but talking to you, and I get the sense that you, as a dog trainer, you've put a great deal of emphasis on making sure that you're putting out the best product. And I look at your bumpers, and your bumpers are the same diameter from tip to end.
Mhm.
So my question is, does any of these things affect? Because for me, I was always told it aided in the breathing of the dog.
Yep.
So
Yep.
what's your thoughts on that, and why did you guys not change the shape of your bumper?
We actually, of the 150 products, we have 4
Okay.
what's called ventilated bumpers.
Okay. Yep.
Gunner has theirs. It's a great bumper. I think Dive Bomb has one. Momarsh has
Yep. Tangle Free has one.
yeah,
Momarsh
yep,
has
they're
one. Yep.
yep, tapered bumpers. There was actually a bumper, I can't remember the brand. It was actually designed by these the veterinary care part of, I think, the University of Alabama came
Okay.
out with one of the very first ones.
Yep.
We actually looked to pursue a ventilated or teardrop one when we actually got the idea from an intern in about 2018. He was part of the University of Wisconsin football team.
Okay.
And Nike provided the very first, the mouthpiece or mouth guards.
Yeah.
For football players. They provided mouth guards that were ventilated. They had airway pockets built in for the athletes. Because
yeah,
I don't know if you ever noticed, years and years you see the mouthpieces?
Yeah.
Nike actually created a ventilated mouthpiece, and he brought this design to us back in 2018 and said we should incorporate it in the
Wow.
bumper design. And
Wow.
we just didn't get there first. So there's several of them out there that currently have that design.
Wow.
But it's probably predicated on the soccer and football industry coming up with the airflows for mouthpieces.
Wow.
Which was developed by Nike. Yeah.
Wow, that is cool. Craig's big giant brain is just on overload right now. He's like, this is the best show I've ever done.
But yeah, that taper design is ideal, but it goes back again to working with your dog on hold conditioning. Again, steady dog.
Yes, of course.
And then a steady dog that delivers to hand and is not carrying the bumper like this. Because if you have a airflow or taper design, the dog actually has to hold that.
Yeah.
So that comes with hold conditioning, that dog,
yeah.
hold, brace, hold.
I tell you, the fire hose canvas. So when my buddy and I, we've been training dogs and selling started dogs. And one thing that I've done, whenever I get the puppy and I have her at the house, because we usually always tend to buy females, is that I will go buy paint rollers for the puppies. But one of those soft canvas ones would do the trick too. Interesting.
Yeah, we looked at, I probably shouldn't be tipping my hand, but yeah, we have a hold condition tool in our portfolio.
Yeah, so I made this note here real early, Craig, and I'm sorry if you're trying to jump in, buddy, and I'm taking every bit.
No.
You said 150 products are on your whiteboard right now that you're looking to establish, and it's a very methodical approach to business, right? Because how many times have you seen startups and people and it's just try to flood as much as you can out there and go. But I get the sense from your brand and your group of people that you work with, you guys are going at a very methodical approach on making sure that it is 100% the right product at the right time. Because that's a trick too, right? Making sure that it's launched at the right time when the consumer is ready for it. And my best example to that is Sitka. And you think, you think about Mossy Oak and Realtree when they came out with their camo, which was revolutionary. Like everybody was like, this is amazing. And people jumped on board and they loved it. And they still to this day, they've got a strong following. And I was in Baton Rouge and Realtree were down there. And I'm going to tell you, Realtree is alive and well in the South. But then, Sitka, right at the perfect time, they launched and it wasn't so much the camo pattern in my mind, it was the quality of the gear and no more being, cold, wet, and miserable in the duck blind.
Yeah.
And how many people, because I remember when I bought my first Sitka jacket and people telling me I was absolutely crazy for spending the money that I spent on it. And now it's not even the blink of an eye. Well, I need $400 to go buy a jacket. Now I'm a First Light guy. I wear First Light and the whole bit. But you think about Sitka started that whole process. So Kuiu, Scree, Cryptic, First Light, all these brands that have got into the premium gear. So very long-winded way of me saying, like, you have to make sure from a business that you're launching the right product at the right time, that the consumer is ready, where they go, I'm going to jump in. Because I'm not going to lie, I am very, very, very interested in the optical yellow and blue. I am very interested in this, and it is something that my dog marks well, and she's very good. It's the breaking aspect for me with her. But when I'm pushing out at training, and I'm pushing out at 100 at 300 yards, if I can give her an extra edge or an extra little trick that she's going to be able to pick up that bumper, then I'm going for it.
And that's it. You're set so many ways you want to challenge the dog, but you want to build an opportunity for success.
Absolutely.
And going back to your discussion about brands and what Sitka did, and they very much created what I would call as a perfect brand environment, where a lot of their pre-launch activity was very entrenched in the lifestyle. The harsh condition, the demands that we put on ourselves and our equipment, and again, it goes back to one of our missions with our brand is that, if you set aside your valuable time, because we have families and we have work and we have to be very select in our hobbies and pursuits and passions.
Our time means a lot to us. Yes.
Yeah. You don't want your gear to be subpar or fail. So as a brand, you want to communicate to that very important consumer that this brand is going to fulfill your expectation and be with you through this.
But I remember first when Sitka launched, and you're right on all the things that you said. Mm-hmm. But Sitka, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were the first that added that scientific reasoning behind why they did what they did. And yes. I can remember the video of the guy standing in a blind in the marsh, and Sitka doing the video saying a duck flying is looking at this angle, looking down on the hunter at this angle, flying at this speed.
Yep.
This is the colors that they see, which is what made Optifade make a dude look invisible in a marsh.
Yep.
And it was that science. That's what I think. That's what set the hook in so many people, because Gore had been around and people had start dipping their toe into Gore-Tex and the whole bit. But once that science got in there and people start, this might make a difference. And as well as I do, because you talk about Kevin Pointer. Kevin Pointer only has X number of hours a week to hunt, and he's going to make sure that he has everything set up for success, be it his truck, his gun, his dog, his camo, his gear. Everything has got to be to the best so that he takes full advantage of the time that he has.
Yep. Yeah. And Sitka, I know exactly. I've seen that commercial, and that was one of the most dramatic, what we call in the industry, iPods, or points of differentiation, where it's like, I get it.
So. Yeah. With that being said, I think that was Craig's hint that we gotta No, I know, buddy. I know.
Yeah.
Paul, this is really interesting, and I know you and I we're going to be talking again soon, and we're going to be doing some stuff down the road, and I would like to take the opportunity to offer you this open invite, and which the open invite means don't wait for me to contact you. If you have and you say, hey, listen, I think Damien and the crew needs to hear this, you fire me a message, and we'll make time for you, because I really do buy into the whole, hey, listen, let's be innovative and let's keep pushing the limits. And if it's backed by science, 99.99% of the time it's right. And Craig is this is a small victory for Craig to hear me say that. So,
Well, and one thing I was about to say before my tablet went all stupid was kind of going back to the 150 or so products that is on your radar that you want to put out. The impression I get is that it's you're not going to put out all 150 of those just because you've identified those, right?
Right.
And like Damien was saying, you're putting in the research, and if you determine that, okay, well, this one, yeah, it was great that we wanted to do that, but it just doesn't make sense, or the research isn't behind it, that you're not going to just push it out for the sake of pushing it out, just for one more SKU kind of thing, right?
That is exactly it. It's very deliberate, and we knew, starting with the bumpers and the products, that we could establish ourselves in the market with our brand.
Yeah.
But we're going to be very protective and conscientious of our brand through our product representation. So, and you're spot on with your evaluation of that.
But sorry, Craig, and let me say this, and then you can jump back in, Craig, and keep on this thread. But you sort of talked about it, Paul, where you talked about that intern where he identified the breathing pods or whatever you want to talk, and you guys sort of kind of missed out on that. So now you've identified the 150 products. Now, instead of rushing to put those out there, now you can do a deep dive on the research on each and every one of them and making sure that they are right for the market when you're ready to launch.
Innovate on what's already out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is one of the considerations in launching and bringing your products to market is a lot of times you can be, as long as you're first, you don't have to be completely right.
Right.
But to be
first, I think that was a Bill Gates mentality back in '95 when he launched Windows, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We first launch it with 48 versions before it runs. And
yeah,
we semi do that now. Like I shared the story of the plastic. And even like our place board, we have a competitor in the market with a similar place board, and it's ironic because the gentleman that runs that company is from Wisconsin, a few miles, and I sat down, had drinks and appetizers with a few times with him, and tried to come to an arrangement to work on a manufacturing of a HuntMark board, and it kind of fell apart.
Okay.
And at one point when I wasn't getting a response, I just my last response was, I'm going to go out and do my own thing.
Yeah.
In which we did. And it's, but again, that person was first to market, but we made some changes that we feel are different in the board. And every time you come to market with your product, there's every existing product I have right now, there's probably no less than 2 to 3 changes that I'm already looking at.
Wow.
That are not going to, if it demonstrably changes it, then we actually have to bring a new product, but just enhancements, improvements, and
here's a question for you, Paul, and this would educate me as well as everybody that's listening. So you have a product today that's on the market, but as you said, everything you have, you're constantly looking at it, probably making changes. So let's say the bumper, and I'm only going to use the bumper because I know that's a product that you have on the market right now. So if you have 3 changes that you want to make to that bumper, does every change, and let's say it's listed A, B, and C in that order of precedence, does each iteration always add extra costs to the consumer?
No,
not
necessarily. No.
Okay.
What like just the plastic changes. For example, I wasn't really happy with the thickness of the plastic and the durability. So what you end up doing is you sample and it can get expensive, and we take some of those expenses on. When you make a certain change, it could change the mold
Okay.
that you make.
Right.
And
Yeah.
just for example, the one mold for that bumper alone, let's say it's $3,000. So that might be a cost. But if it's important enough to increase your sales and your margin, you do it. You don't have to increase the price to the consumer.
Okay.
But in order to do that, you diagram that change. We have a 3D drawing, a dimensional drawing that we do. Takes time with the designers. Then we have samples drafted, and they might draft 3 or 4 or 5 of them, and it takes weeks for you to get them.
Right.
And I'll kind of give you one of our challenges is that we changed the plastic once, and we had so many series of plastic changes. The factory mistakenly went back to a different one. It was they took ownership of it, but
Okay.
I don't blame them because we changed it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
We had 5,000 units produced and shipped.
Oh.
And they got here and they were wrong. So, yeah.
Right.
So they had to reproduce it, resend it. But there's a lot of changes because it kind of breaks your heart because those we had to dispose of.
Right.
Luckily, because they're plastic, they're recyclable.
Right.
But just watching them go into recycling, because a party wants to give them away or whatever, but it's not representative of your brand. So if you gave it away to a nonprofit, they're using it and it's inferior, so there's a lot of challenges with it. So
yeah,
and it's all those things that people don't think about when they're like, oh, well, why does this one cost this much? Or, like when they can't understand why you're charging for something, they don't understand all of those aspects, right?
Well, and then you got to think about, so here I was following a thread last night. I'm not gonna say names that are brands or nothing like that, but the thread went, there was a new product coming out, and the consumers could not understand why there was an increase in $100 in this product. Now, first off, the product is made in Asia. So the cost of a shipping container today, as opposed to what it was pre-COVID, is astronomical.
Yeah.
Astronomical. So so that costs. So who eats that cost? And that's the thing that I think more consumers, and I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, because I know there's a vast number of people that get it and they understand it, but there's still a lot of people that don't understand. Listen, the business isn't going to eat every expense, because they'd be a pretty shitty business if they did. And that's just fact. Like, they're not going to stay in business if they eat every expense. So prices fuel has gone up. If you're in Canada, I don't know what it's like in Asia or what it's like in the United States, but in Canada, the minimum wage keeps climbing. So the manufacturer is still going to keep their margins. They're not going to lose margins just because they had to up the wage a $1 an hour. So people, I don't know. I guess really what I'm trying to get at is that, hey, listen, if you don't understand why there was an increase, it's a lot of times it's not greed like you think it is.
Yeah.
It's the market and the economy has driven it. It sucks. Hey, listen, I got to buy my gear too. So it sucks, but I do understand it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And we're fortunate enough to be a brand registered worldwide on Amazon, because what Amazon does for us specifically is that we have our specific market in sporting goods, sporting dogs in our market. when we open up our goods on Amazon, we get a lot of research back, and we can play around with the pricing so that I know if a bumper, if I'm selling it, say for $9 or $10 or 11, a lot of times I will even keep dropping the price of it to get a sales volume lift, because because as a business, it's not so much that, Kevin Pointer buying it would be more comfortable at $8.99 or 10 versus $10.99. I just got to stack more Kevin Pointers.
That's right.
To make, so a lot of businesses in our industry don't have the luxury of the statistics that are driven, by having a platform like Amazon to make that decision, or a lot of things we can do on our side directly to our community is supported by high volume sales on Amazon.
Wow.
So we can do certain things for the trainers and the kennels and so forth.
Well, so I'm gonna share this little tidbit with you, and this is what and Craig, you're gonna like this. So this was while we were down in Baton Rouge, last weekend. So I'm down there. I'm sitting in the booth with Real Geese. I'm down helping the Real Geese booth during that weekend. So they make silhouette goose decoys. So you're talking about Amazon, and Amazon opens up a whole wide world of consumers. Craig, I had a gentleman come up to me in Baton Rouge and say, "How much for one of those ducks?" And I was like, "For one duck?" And he was like, "Yeah, I want one duck." I was like, "Well, why wouldn't you just buy 12 ducks? Because they come in a case of 12. He was like, "I want one duck for my garden." And you know what? Punisher Waterfowls The Refuge is presented by Quick Kois, the fastest deployable, most portable, lifelike motion decoy product ever invented for duck hunters. And you know what? He told me the reason why he's asking is because his wife bought a cardboard duck off Amazon and put it in their garden, like, underneath their big bay window in their living room. And someone come by and said, "There's a duck in your garden." And now he wants to buy single ducks to plant in his gardens around the house. That is what Amazon opens up. So not only are you in the hunting world and the duck hunting or the sporting dogs world, now you've ended up into everybody's world.
Yes.
You're now a home accent.
Yes. And
it was what? I couldn't believe it.
Oh, it's well, and here's another thing that if you want a big dose of your baby's ugly, is list something on Amazon and then read reviews. They'll tell you how ugly your baby is over and over.
And over again. Yeah.
And a few of our people, they personally take it to heart, and they're like, well, and they get defensive. And I said, this is a learning opportunity. If our customer, and it may not be our customer, is saying X, Y, or Z is faulty or is short of their expectations, can we do something about it? Because if that one person feels this way, there might be 10 or 20, and it's something that may be seriously addressed. Now, the review that, the bumper that they bought didn't fit in their 2017 Yukon GMC, then I know I got the wrong review,
Right. Absolutely. It is, and that just struck me. And this is a guy that's in the industry. This was another vendor that came up and talked to us. He's not in the decoy side of things, but he was another vendor down there, and how much for one? And I was like, and then Craig Mintz came along, who's the owner of Real Geese, and I was like, this guy wants to buy one, and he was like, $20, and the guy's like, yeah, I'll get in touch with you. because Craig wasn't going to break up any. He only came down
No.
with so many boxes to sell at the show. But he was like, "Here's my card. Contact me next week when I get back to Ohio, and we'll figure something out." But he was like, "I don't know, $20." And the guy's like, "Okay, I'll get in touch with you." And then I
Well-
just thought about it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, he's probably going to open up a whole new stream of revenue for,
Plus, like
for
around here, like
gardeners.
I've seen rental places where you can rent like the pink flamingos for birthday parties to put out in your front lawn and
You
stuff.
can
Right
rent
there, you
that?
go. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Little penguins and stuff like that. It's a whole new revenue stream. Craig
Hey,
can get
man,
into that.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you, I seen the most brilliant thing the other day on a video, and it was a homeless man, and I don't know where it was. It was a homeless man, and he was obviously looking for people to give him some donations and stuff. And he had a sign, and on the sign said, "Give me a dollar if your wife is beautiful." And the amount of men that walked by that had to put a dollar in his cup, and I was like, this guy's a friggin' genius. Like, he just unlocked the code to just making a pile of money right there. But this is the thing, right? Like, there's always somebody that is just a switch goes off, and they think of something, and they can turn it into making money. And it's a wonderful thing, because I think the ingenuity is amazing, and their desire to just push the envelope is amazing. Paul, I did want to I want to touch on a few things, or ask you a couple questions. Is your product available in Canada?
Right now, it is available through Amazon. We
Okay.
are working on to properly set up our shipping modules on our e-commerce site. So someone, if they just go straight to the site,
Right.
can ship. It's a little bit more challenging, and it's usually a poor calculation on the plugins for the shipping.
Yeah.
But what I can convey to you and anyone within your audience is that if you reach out to us or drop us a note on the contact us, I can actually go in and do a manual order.
Right. Yeah.
Customized for you. And what I think we should do is, we talked a little bit about this, get you a pretty decent care package
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
To get to you, and so you can actually hold and see and maybe treat your consumers with some of these products to get even discussion going. Or
no, that would be awesome, because initially what I had pitched to you was, hey, listen, we're trying to build up our brand. So if you had anything you wanted to give us that we could push out to our listeners, get two birds stoned at once, as Ricky would say. You get your product in some new consumers' hands at the same time I get to build my brand. Now, I am going to tell you this, and I'm going to be completely upfront. Not all of that is going to be given away to the consumers, because I really want to. I've got a training group. Well, and it's not that I would take much of it, but even if it was just to take one bumper, because within my training group, I want to be able to look at them and go, hey, listen, I want you guys to tell me what are your thoughts, and be honest. But I am not a fan of people that say no, but doesn't give a reason for the no. Like, if you don't agree with it, okay, that's fine, but give me a reason why you don't agree with it, or give me a solution to make it better. And with the crew that I hang around with, they are very good at that. They're like, well, it should be like this, or no, this is good, I would change this, that sort of thing. So I'm going to be completely upfront with you. When you send me that care package, not all of it's going to go to the listeners of the Union 0430 podcast, because I've got a group of dog trainers that I want them to pick this apart too, because like
Well,
I
there's
said,
value in that too, right?
well,
Oh,
there is
absolutely.
value. There is value in it, but who am I to say that optical yellow and blue is wrong?
Yeah.
Who am I to say that? I
And
don't know.
we I would love the fact that you grab as much loot as you want and then bring it out to your crew and, call that
Well,
baby ugly as much as you want. But I would appreciate,
no,
the,
absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
Well,
listen, let's keep going for another 10 minutes. And the beauty about going for
sure.
another 10 minutes is that we can turn this one episode into two episodes.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is I'm going to tell you, Paul, it's never been done. This is 196 episodes, and we've never went this long on an episode before. So
Great.
hats off to you that you've managed to keep my attention for this long.
and I just want, I
Yeah,
just want to jump in and say, like, when Paul was saying, like, give him a call and can figure something out, like figure out the shipping, and it's very similar to Craig and Real Geese, right?
yes,
Like, I know I've reached out to Craig on Facebook, and I've seen others have said it too. It's like, yeah, you go online, you try and place an order, but they'll always tell you, it's like, give us a call, because yeah, the shipping part from the
Yep.
U.S. to Canada is always an issue, and they're like, yeah, give us a call, we'll figure it out,
we'll
because
figure it
online
out.
it's just not going to work out quite right.
Yep. Yep.
So
And
that personal connection just is a huge deal, especially up here in Canada.
well,
Oh yeah.
and I don't want to take anything away from you, Paul, but as a consumer, if I can talk to somebody, right, Craig, like if you're trying to do something and you're having issues, and then you can go, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to call them and get this squared away. At 47 years old, that means a lot to me.
Yep.
Because if I can call somebody, and I'm not going to get into anything else, but if I can call somebody and talk to them on the phone and say, this is what I'm trying to do, can you help me? And it's done, no questions asked, sorted out, that means a lot. And I think the younger generation who is rolling their eyes at me right now, go ahead and roll your eyes. But in 20 years, you're going to be like, remember when Damian Pittman said that about my time is going to be very valuable to me? Because right now your time isn't. My time is very valuable to me right now. As I know, Craig, yours is, and Paul, yours as well. Without you tipping your hat too much, Paul, do you have anything that is right on the edge to being released from HuntMark right now that is just going to blow the socks off people?
We probably are a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the hardest question of the episode right there.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a couple of things that
Okay.
are on the edge of our two silos that we're excited because we're actually pursuing manufacturing partnerships here in the States versus trying to do collaborations with, components over. HuntMark just recently picked up an investor that changed the complexion of our business in April. And one of their sweet spots is actually manufacturing, and specifically manufacturing in the United States. So so we have our 150 products. We hold what I would say are higher end items that we are 100% committed to having done here. And that new investor group is going to kind of lead that.
Cool.
I don't know if that
sounds very like Shark Tank, Dragon's Den kind of
it was
situation.
Yeah, it was something that, at the expos and when talking to people, they do want to know where things come from. And, very upfront that we can offer, our mid-range bumper. It's not the $2.90 bumper because of everything we talked about.
Yeah.
But the reason we can do a $8 or $5 bumper is because we have it done in mass across the sea.
Right.
However, we get a lot of questions on, can we, we would like to see something done here. And my answer is, so would I.
Yeah.
And we came up with, we feel is a very targeted group of products that we will have done here. But I guess we hadn't entertained it until this opportunity came up in April. So that's one thing we're very excited about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The one thing that the common theme that I see, and I see it, and I am a big advocate for, I say, made in North America. I'm a big advocate for it. Now, I'm a big advocate for it, and I understand that made in North America comes with extra cost. So I am comfortable with the extra cost because it's made in North America. And when it's made in America, and this is something that the Canadian listeners can really buy into, is that real geese is 100% American. The ink, the dyes, the cloth, the plastic, everything is America. So we fall under the old NAFTA, whatever the new name of it is now, I don't know. But
Right.
when that ships across the border, Canadians don't have to pay duties on that because it is all made in America. And because of that, you save on the duties. Now, if you want to save yourself the $2 to $3 on the product, or whatever that dollar amount is, if that is important to you, well then, okay, that's fine, go for it. But do not stand on your soapbox and say we need more things made in America or in Canada or Mexico,
Sure.
North America, if you're not willing to pay the extra cost that's associated with having it made in North America.
Well, that's the fine line too, right? Because like everybody always wants to complain that it's made overseas,
That's
or
right.
they want to see that made in North America or US or Canada. But usually the people that are going to complain the most aren't going to spend the money on it.
No,
They're not going.
you're absolutely right. You're
It's the
absolutely
same as
right,
what we
Craig.
see when people say, "Oh, I would support this organization if," but they never did before, and they won't when they do the things that they want.
Yeah,
So
good point.
it's cool to hear you say, Paul, that it's like, you've identified these certain items, because if you went and made your whole lineup all North American made, and then obviously incurred extra cost, chances are all those people that were complaining aren't going to buy them because they cost an extra dollar
Well,
or two.
I can tell you.
So you really have to you have to find that balance, right?
I can tell you down at that Duck Expo, and Craig Mintz and Real Geese they have some very stiff competition in that silhouette market. And I tell you what, if you were above the age of 25 years old, and when Craig said to you, all my products are made in America, there was a light bulb, or not a light bulb, but there was a little twinkle in the eyes of anybody above the age of 25 that appreciated that it was made, and then they immediately had a lot more interest in the product being made in North America, vice being made overseas.
And there's other aspects of it too, right? It's like, if it's like I could jump out and give you my extra $20 because it's made in North America or made in the US or whatever, and then I get it home and the quality
it's still crap.
Yeah. So
Right.
That's a good point.
Again, there's all that balancing, right? It's like, those people that are going to pay that extra, but hopefully it's for a better product.
Well,
too,
I
right?
can
So
tell
there's
you,
so many aspects of it.
I can tell you, within that waterfowling world, if you're going to stand on that line and say we're manufactured in North America and we're going to demand a premium cost, and if that product does not stand up, oh boy, it is not going to be pretty for you as a manufacturer or as a
And
business.
what better spot for you to waterfowling too, right? It's
Oh.
like if something's not going to stand up, it's not going to stand up really quick.
Definitely. No,
Yeah,
I agree.
sorry, Paul, we kept cutting you off there.
No, that is, you asked the question, is there something that's going to, and we've moved up these premium products that we were looking at because of this investment that we got.
Yeah.
Something more immediate that's going to happen, that's probably, again, not the sexiest part, but is going to be a line of collars and leads and check cords and, all of the blocking and tackling part that, you can find someplace. But just to give you, it was something that I thought I was going to knock out like really quickly.
Yeah.
But again, just picking out the clasps. I have probably 20 different clasps sitting on my desk right here.
Yep.
Of samples. And one of the things that we made a decision on is we're going to create 2 lines of check cords and leads. And one's going to be our premium brand, which we're going to call the Pro Series.
Yep.
And everything is going to be stainless steel, brass fittings. And it's not going to be, where the check cord's a $10 check cord. It's going to be $30-$40.
Yep.
Because we have, again, 30 to 40 different rope samples.
Yeah.
Yep. The PVC's covered. But anyways, so we'll be probably before the end of the year, we'll have our series of
very cool
check cords. We're very excited to kind of lean toward the PVC or the sealed nylon stuff.
Yep.
Just from the standpoint that it doesn't get wet. It's very durable, easy to clean, doesn't smell. But that is something that we're still on the fence of having manufactured here versus going overseas.
Right.
So it's the irony is that if we have it manufactured here, it's the class, the rope, everything comes from overseas and then it's assembled here. So it's
right.
Kind of,
yeah. So you're not. So in that case, you're not going to escape the duty fees, or you won't be able to be compliant to NAFTA or whatever friggin' name they've given it over the last couple of years.
Right.
You know what? Let's take our win that this is the first time we've done a 2-hour episode. Let's not try and turn it into a 3-hour episode, because I think we could do that.
We could. I don't have the win.
But we could do a 3-hour episode, but that gives you more room, Paul, for the next time to come on and talk about more of your products. I'm very excited to follow you guys and follow along and see what you're doing, because it is a very niche market, and some people are getting involved into it, and I'm not so sure that all the research is going into it to the level that you guys are. So I'm very interested to keep following along with what you guys are doing and the whole bit. So with that, we'll do a quick around the table. We'll give last words to Paul, Craig, and then we'll end her for the night. So Craig, to you, buddy.
It's great to have you on, Paul, and I'm looking forward to going through the website a little bit more. And yeah, it was just the level of information and how easy it is to digest, and what you've given us already tonight. I think it's great. It was great talking to you, and look forward to hopefully reading more of it, and at some point, when or if I get a dog, being able to
you're going to
use some products. Yeah.
You're going to get one. It's my life goal.
And for me personally, like, I like seeing that research has gone in, and it's not just so many companies just do the same thing, or it's that kind of putting like a gym aspect onto that bro science kind of thing, right? It's like, well, this is what people have always thought. This is what people have always used and done. So like, yeah, again, seeing your change in colors and the research, you're reaching out to veterinarians and just seeing that effort instead of just relying on the same old kind of stuff. Like, as somebody who's not even a newbie hasn't even broken into it yet, it's good to know that if, when I start doing research, that you can rely on the information that's there.
Appreciate it.
Next words to you, Paul.
Well, I greatly appreciate you giving me a platform to introduce our company.
100%. Yep.
And I am looking forward to furthering the discussion, getting product out to you. And with that, Craig, I highly, highly encourage a dog for a lot of reasons. It'll be your best hunting guarantee. And what we say at HuntMark is train with HuntMark.
That's it, Craig. I'm telling you,
There you go.
it can't be any more simpler than that.
That's right.
And Paul, you can quantify this when I say, Craig, if you think you don't have time for a dog, you need 10 minutes a day. That's it.
Exactly.
10 minutes. That's all you need. It just got to be consistent. But
Damien keeps pushing.
Oh yeah, because I want you to, because I know you, and I know the joy that a dog will bring you to be sitting with you in your blind and chasing you on your adventures. I know what the dog would do to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 196, part 1 and part 2. So we're going to break this one down. We're going to make 2 episodes out of it, but it'll be part 1, part 2 of episode 196. Listen, check out HuntMark. It's very easy. Go on Google, type in HuntMark, go on Instagram, type in HuntMark. You'll find them. You'll see their products. You'll see everything that Craig and I were talking about when we were looking at their website. And if you are a dog trainer, if you are in that dog training type of world, I promise you will see something there that'll make you go, really? I'm curious about this. And after talking to Paul for the last 120 minutes, I am convinced that the research has went into it, and it's going to be a great product. Paul, thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to you coming on again. Please, again, do not wait for me to invite you. You have my contact now. Reach out to me. We'll get you on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Union 0430. We're not experts. We'll never pretend to be experts. We're a group of friends that love sitting around chatting and talking anything duck hunting. Big love. Surround yourself with good people. Until next time.